I'm Turk Strongman at the Rank Ramaturakan. Thank you for selecting this video on what it means to make time for something, or not have time for something. Okay, before continuing though, if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, then please pause the video right now and get it done. And while you're at it, activate the notification bell feature. If by the end of this video you find that you liked it, give it a thumb up. If you didn't like it, give it your other thumb up. Comment courteously below, and share the joy of the channel with others. Now, let's go. Well, I was talking with somebody lately, and the brief conversation inspired this video for you, all of you. The person indicated not really having time to get a lot of things done, get things done, but had the idea that perhaps it could work better. Just didn't know how, because there really wasn't time to get all the things done that the person desired to get done. But felt just jammed full of activity already. And, you know, I said something about, well, making time. And the person indicated, what does that mean? So, you know, that's a good question. Making time for something really is not a good phrase for what it's supposed to mean. And if you're confused, like this other individual was, like I have been at times in my life over this matter, what's it mean to make time for something? How do you make time for something? What do you just come up with some extra time? What do we mean when we say, but I don't have time for something? Well, okay. When we make time for something, what we actually have to do that, to accomplish that, is, you know, we don't have to look for some spare time. Or think about setting aside other things, sacrificing something else in order to make some time, like just pull some time out of thin air in order to get that done. Here's all it means. It's more simple than making time makes it sound like. You decide on a time to do the thing you need to get done, but you just don't seem to have time to get done. You decide on a time for it. Like, let's say it's a regular, routine washing of the bed sheets. Like let's say you want to get it done once a week, but you never get to it. It just never seems to be time. And you say, I don't have time for that. Well, and then somebody says, well, make time for it. What you do to make time for it is you decide on a time for it. You decide, say, okay, on Saturdays, every Saturday, around 2 p.m., I'm going to do that. Maybe on Saturdays at 2 p.m., usually you've got other things to do, but you don't have anything actually scheduled for that time. It's just like whatever you happen to be doing at that time, it may be different every Saturday. But in this case now, you select that time to wash the bed sheets. So every Saturday, sometime around 2 p.m., you do that. That's all it takes. Now you have a time for it. That's what it means. I mean, if you didn't have a time for it, if you didn't make a time for it, that's all that means. You just select a time to do it. That's what make time for it means. You select one. You don't pull it out of thin air. You don't have to push other things aside. You don't have to rearrange your whole schedule, unless those things happen to be incidental to the selecting of a time, a specific time. That's all it means, select a time. Now you have a time for it. Now you can't say, I don't have time for it, because you don't have time for it until you make one, until you select one. Now you have a time for it. Now you say, if somebody says, do you have time to wash your sheets? You say, yes. In fact, it's Saturdays at 2 p.m. I picked that. That's all it means. That's all it means. Now, you may have heard of making yourself a schedule. Time management. Like you make a calendar. Maybe it's just Monday through Sunday calendar. And it applies every week. Things that you should just be doing every week. Like clean the refrigerator, do laundry, do the bed sheets, mop the floor, things like that. Once a week kind of things. So, draw 7 boxes in a row, label them Monday, Tuesday, and then select the time in each day when you're going to do those things each week. Now you have made a time. That's all. You selected one. That's all it means. It should not be the phrase, make time for these things. No. That's very misleading. It sounds really, if you take it literally, like something that is not possible to do. What it means is you just select a time. Now you have a time for those things. And then just do that. That's it. And you probably will find that if most of your activities that are repetitive, routine, even things once a month, whatever, like going grocery shopping, you do this with them, just write them, select the time. You don't have to stick to it perfectly. But what you're going to find by this so-called making time for these things, is that you do have time to get everything done. And some things won't take as long as you thought. Once you get used to the routine, like when you get a new job and you figure out the quickest way to get there in the mornings, and at first it might take you 45 minutes to get there. You do it for a while, a couple of months later, it's only taking 20 minutes, and you're going the same direction, going the same way, going the same speed. Somehow it just goes faster because you keep doing it over and over. You're going to find that this so-called free time thing, you're going to end up with some. You can even write some in when there's nothing else that you have to fill in for a certain time slot on a certain day. And then you're going to have time for all these things, right? And the more you just follow that, stick to your selected times, now that you have time for things, you've made the time for things by filling it in on your schedule, selecting the time. Okay, Saturday at 2 o'clock, that's wash the sheets time. That's when I strip the bed and put clean sheets on. Wander the others, whatever. It's going to get quicker. And you'll have more time for other things this way. Because you'll probably find that they all fit this way. And you'll get more done. It'll be easier. It'll go faster. And you'll end up with this elusive thing called free time. And be sure that when you come upon free time, to actually use it like that. Do whatever you feel like. Do whatever you feel like with it. Don't go filling in your free time with something else that's routine. Unless, of course, something else comes up that you need to make time for. Then you've got free time from which you can select to put something else in your routine. That's all it means, folks. Making time for something. You don't have a time. You don't have time for something. Well, it's because you haven't selected a time for it. That's all. Okay. I hope that helps. Maybe you weren't unclear on this in the first place. Some people are unclear about it. It seems to be just too difficult to do. But I think that phrase, making time for something, well, you got to make time for it, you know, the way people say that. It sounds condescending, and it sounds too complicated. And it really is something that you really can't do, the way it's said. It just means selecting a time. Then you have time for it, because you picked it yourself. So, if you've been confused over that, you've been befuddled by it, confounded by it, well, I hope I helped to solve your problem. Did you like the video? Then give it a thumb up. You think it was stupid? You didn't like it? Give it your other thumb up. Please refrain from giving it your middle finger. Comment courteously below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that. Activate the notification bell feature while you're at it, and share the joy of the channel with others. It's all rather simple. And I know you have time for it. I'm Turk Strongman, here at Veronica Ramacharaka. Be well.